I'm artist Lillian Gray, and today's lesson is about Chinese contemporary artist Ai Weiwei. Ai Weiwei is a Chinese contemporary artist and activist. He has been called the most dangerous artist in the world. His art studio has been demolished. He has been accused of tax theft. His passport has been confiscated. He has been placed under surveillance. He has even been arrested and detained for 81 days. But why? How can this man be one of the most renowned artists of our time? How can someone that's been to jail be seen as the most powerful artist in the world? Why is Ai Weiwei's art so powerful and important? It is because Ai Weiwei is passionate about human rights and openly critical of the Chinese government. He has investigated the Chinese government's corruption and lies and spoken about them openly. Needless to say, the Chinese government does not like that one bit. His political outspokenness has triggered various forms of harassment from the Chinese government. Ai Weiwei in his art is loved by the world, but hated by his own country's government. As an artist, he is known for his ready-made sculptures, massive installations, performances, photographs, videos, investigations, architectural projects, social media updates, and blog posts. He truly is a diverse artist that will simply not be silenced. Let's delve deeper into Ai Weiwei's life and discover why he is so passionate about freedom of speech and human rights. Artist Ai Weiwei was born in 1957, China. Ai's father was one of China's most renowned poets, and his mother was a writer. Okay, so that date is important. Let's just backtrack a bit and give you a short overview of Chinese history so you can understand what happens next. In short, the history of China is old and stretches over a long period of time. China's history is divided into periods called dynasties, and every dynasty was ruled by one important man, sometimes woman, called an emperor. During this time, China was known for various inventions such as fireworks and gunpowder. They also became known for exceptional craftsmanship and art skills such as ceramics, calligraphy, woodcuts, painting, and joinery. Chinese society was also based on the philosopher Confucius's work, which preached a certain societal structure, respect, and dignity within the community. Okay, fast forward to 1911 and we have China's first revolution. This ended over 3,000 years of dynastic history. During this time, all across the world, poor people were sick of being ruled by the wealthy. Nationalists took over from the ruling emperor, but then the communists challenged them. Civil war broke out in China between the nationalists and the communists, and eventually the communists won. And that brings us to the 1st of October 1949, when the charming charismatic leader Mao Zedong declared the People's Republic of China. Mao Zedong was a dynamic new leader that made lots and lots of promises to the people of China. Mao launched a massive propaganda campaign, spreading his own importance and communist beliefs. Mao didn't really know how to rule China, and he made lots and lots of mistakes. But whenever anyone criticized him, he simply had them silenced. Killed. But Mao had a strong vision for China. He wanted to build an industrialized China filled with factories. So Mao came up with a terrible plan called the Great Leap Forward. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. 20 million Chinese people died of hunger, half of which were the age of under 10. Okay, so back to little Ai Weiwei. The year is 1958 and the dictator Mao Zedong is in control of China. His plans to unify and save China is going badly. Ai is 1 year old when his dad gets accused of not agreeing with Mao in his poetry. No one is allowed to tell Supreme Leader Mao Zedong that he is wrong. He simply hates it. So communist officials send Ai's dad and his entire family off to work in the Chinese labor camps. And they lived in these terrible, harsh conditions for over 17 years. In 1976, Mao Zedong died and Ai's family was allowed to return to Beijing. This signaled the end of the Cultural Revolution in China. In Beijing, Ai developed a keen interest in art and film. He enrolled in the Beijing Film Academy. Soon he established a student avant-garde art group called STARS. Today this group is seen as the birth of the contemporary Chinese art movement. It was a rebirth of art forms that were suppressed by the decades of Mao's communist rule. However, Mao's death didn't end communist rule in China. It just continued under a new leader. This didn't make it easy for artists to show their work and be heard. But Ai and his friends didn't give up. When they were denied entry to the exhibition space, they simply hung their artwork on the fences outside. When the police shut them down, they protested in the streets. And eventually, the government allowed STARS to exhibit in the China Art Gallery. They expected that the lack of interest from the public would deter the determined artists. However, a whopping 200,000 visitors attended the attraction. Eventually, Ai Weiwei grew tired of the Chinese restrictions on artists, and in 1981, he moved to the United States of America. He settled in New York City and attended the Parsons School of Design. He immersed himself into the art, studying Marcel Duchamp's ready-made sculptures, Andy Warhol's repetitive prints, and other pop artists like Jasper Johns and the German artist Joseph Bey's sculptures. I became fascinated with ready-mades. Ready-mades are when an artist takes a found object, strips it from its daily use, then displays it in a different way and adds a title. By doing this, the artist adds a new thought and meaning to the object that it did not previously have. The project then becomes an artwork. After 12 years in New York, Ai returned to China because his father became sick. China was undergoing tremendous change with huge economic developments. You see, in 1978, a new leader, Deng Xiaoping, decided that China was ready to do business with the West. Deng is seen as the architect of modern China. He implemented a program for economic reforms, establishing special economic zones, SEZs, in China. These zones didn't have to follow the same rules as the rest of China, and they were allowed to export products to the West. The Chinese government was still communist, but they desperately needed to come up with new ideas to be able to feed 1.4 billion people. They needed capitalism, but didn't want to give up their communist control. So they made these SEZ zones and called it socialism with Chinese characteristics. And it worked. Much better than anyone ever expected. But this aggressive strategy to become an economic powerhouse came with radical change. Entire neighborhoods were demolished to build new roads, dams, stadiums, and high-rise buildings. The way the government was just erasing thousands of years of Chinese history troubled Ai. He was shocked to see that nobody was interested in owning beautiful objects from past dynasties. He was also troubled by how the Chinese government wanted to sweep the failures of communist rule under the carpet and simply just erase history. You see, Ai is well versed in antiques and he knew the value of historic Chinese objects. He wanted to confront the Chinese people with the past. He wanted to remind them of the dynasties that came before. He wanted to show them the exceptional craftsmanship China commanded in contrast with the cheap mass-manufactured items it has become known for. He wanted people to respect the past so they can consider the type of future they were currently creating. Ai started using Chinese antiques for his ready-made sculptures, combining and assembling them in unique ways. By using these ancient items in contemporary sculptures, he made Chinese history striking and visible to the public again. One example of this is when Ai transformed a century-old Han Dynasty urn into a modern artwork by slapping a Coca-Cola logo onto it. Another example was when he gathered doors from demolished Chinese temples for a massive public installation. A particular piece that gained a lot of attention was when Ai smashed a 2,000-year-old Han Dynasty urn. He captured the actions with a triptych of photographs showing us frame by frame how he drops it and simply shatters it. Ai is also looking directly into the camera, defiantly and fully aware of his destruction. He literally simply smashed something that was super rare and more than 2,000 years old. That's shocking! How can you simply break something that old? It's pure vandalism! By breaking the urn, I actually made people notice it more. It made them ask, why is this valuable? Why should we care about it? This artwork serves as a mirror, reminding us that China's past remains important and relevant today. Ironically, by destroying the urn, he revitalized it. The Han Dynasty urn still exists for the public, but has been transformed into photos. These photos now receive unprecedented attention, and they are displayed in museums and public institutions all around the world. Dropping a Han Dynasty urn is one of the many works by Ai Weiwei that focuses on heritage and loss and the importance of the past. Throughout Ai's art career, he has done various artworks and installations surrounding the theme of celebrating China's long, rich history prior to communism. To celebrate China's ancient skills, he often hires Chinese craftsmen skilled in ancient joinery, porcelain, and ceramics to work with him on projects. By embracing these painstaking handmade skills, he poses a strong contrast to China's mass production. A great example where Ai Weiwei uses Chinese craftsmanship in his artwork is the artwork Blossoms that he did at Alcatraz prison in the United States of America in 2014. Now, Alcatraz Island is the former home of a military fortification and a federal prison. In the prison, Ai Weiwei filled the basins and the bathtubs with beautifully delicate porcelain flowers. Some have suggested the work may be an iconic nod to China's famous 100-Day Flowers campaign back in 1956. This was a brief period when the government allowed freedom of expression, but immediately stopped it with a severe crackdown on freedom of speech. Leader Mao Zedong named this movement the 100 Flowers campaign, after a traditional poem, let 100 flowers blossom, let 100 schools of thought contend. What's also interesting is that during the time when Ai Weiwei was detained and under house arrest in China, he used to place flowers every morning outside as a daily offering to the police that was watching him with their surveillance cameras. Okay, so you need to know a little bit more on how communist China works. In the West, people believe in basic human rights, such as all people are equal, regardless of race, color, or gender. They believe in the freedom of religion. They believe in the freedom of speech. And they believe in democracy. The West doesn't have it all figured out, and their democratic system can seem very, very messy at times. But these are the ideals they strive for. Freedom of speech is really important because it keeps our leaders honest and in check. Now, in China, you are not allowed to criticize the government. If you do, they will harass, imprison, and even torture you. Because freedom of speech is not allowed, the internet is also monitored by the government, meaning they decide which websites you are allowed to spend your time on. So in China, social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube is not allowed. So the Chinese government is essentially in control of everyone, what they do, what they watch, what they say, and ultimately that leads to controlling the population's thoughts. Communism is also based on the belief that the state, the government, owns everything, and then they decide to share it with everybody equally. You are not allowed to own anything. Even your body and your brain belongs to the government. Okay, so now you know about communist China. Let's move on to some other works by Ai Weiwei. Artist Ai Weiwei is not only concerned with the past, but also with the present. He is particularly concerned with the way the Chinese Communist government hides the truth from the public. On May 12, 2008, a massive earthquake hit China's Xinhua province and killed approximately 90,000 people. 10 days after the earthquake, I led a team of people to survey and film the post-quake conditions. They discovered that due to corruption, various school campuses were built quite shoddily and did not adhere to standard building regulations. This caused lots of schools to collapse and resulted in the death of many children. The government, not one to admit fault, denied the allegations and refused to publish the amount of people that perished. They also refused to launch an investigation into the corruption or accept any responsibility. In response, I recruited volunteers online and launched a citizen investigation. to compile names and information of the student victims. Ai wouldn't allow the Chinese government to simply deny the children's deaths. Ai and his team soon accumulated a list of 5,385 children's names that died in the earthquake. They were meticulous, gathering each child's home address, age, gender, parents' name, and the schools they attended in the area. Ai published the collection of names on his blog, but the Chinese authorities quickly shut down the blog. Remember, they control the internet. But this didn't stop Ai. He was determined to remember these children and their parents' suffering. He made several artworks commemorating the incident and exposing the Chinese government corruption. In one artwork, he collected bent metal rods from the collapsed schools in Sichuan, 150 tons of rebar to be exact. He painstakingly straightened every single bar and then exhibited them in stacks. By straightening the pieces, Ai Weiwei demonstrated his desire to try and make things right for the forgotten victims of the earthquake. He also exhibited the list of more than 5,000 school children that died. 300 people came together at the art gallery in Ontario, Canada, for a community art performance called Say Their Names. During this 4-hour event, participants read aloud the names of the children. And as you stand in front of this installation at the art gallery, you can hear the name of every single child being read aloud. When Ai Weiwei visited the sites of the schools that had been destroyed, he saw children's backpacks scattered in the rubble, a tangible symbol of the boys and the girls whose lives had been cut short. He decided to use backpacks as a symbol for each child that died. This artwork, called Snake Bag, is made out of hundreds of backpacks latched together in the shape of a snake. He also created a simple yet moving installation on the facade of Haus der Kunst in Munich. He used 9,000 school backpacks to spell out the words, "She lived happily for 7 years in this world," in Chinese. It is a quote from one of the mothers that he interviewed in the investigation. The artwork, known as Sunflower Seeds, consists of more than 100 million tiny handmade porcelain sunflower seeds. The sunflower seeds were handmade one by one in a small town in China that used to be known for their porcelain skills. The porcelain process consists out of more than 30 different steps: mining, milling, straining, painting, baking, etc. This artwork involved 1,600 people in this little village to make it. That means almost everybody knew somebody who worked on a sunflower seed. But why sunflower seeds? Well, first of all, they bring a fuzzy feeling of joy in Ai from when he was growing up. Even in the poorest areas in China, people would share sunflower seeds as a sweet treat among friends. More importantly, the sunflower is a reoccurring symbol in communist China propaganda. Supreme leader Mao Zedong was often depicted as the sun, and the people of China as the sunflowers turning towards him. By using the seeds, Ai Weiwei symbolizes the camaraderie of the Chinese people during difficult times. In this work, Ai plays with the role of the individual compared to the collective. Every single one of the 100 million sunflower seeds are carefully crafted and captures the viewer's attention. Yet the large square of seeds covering the room's floor creates a sense of vastness. This plays with the communist ideology that the state, the collective, is more important than the individual. This project also states that it can only be made in China and nowhere else. It alludes to the globalization and mass production in China that caters to Western consumerism. It plays with the idea that the tiny seed is a significant individual at the bottom of the production chain. The thousands of cheap laborers in assembly lines, gigantic factories, doing tedious little procedures. Needless to say, Ai became a huge irritation to the Chinese government. He was a well-known international artist that kept on exposing their corruption and their lies internationally. Because Ai was a public figure, they couldn't just simply make him disappear, aka kill him. But they did decide to make life really difficult for him. And in 2009, he was beaten by the police. He suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and needed emergency brain surgery to recover. 2 of his bank accounts were hacked. His phone was tapped. His 76-year-old mother was interrogated, and his personal blog was shut down. In 2010, they placed Ai under house arrest 2 months after his release, they demolished his Shanghai art studio. After that, the Chinese government charged him with tax evasion, demanding a total of 12 million yuan. They placed him under continuous surveillance, had him followed, confiscated his passport, prevented him from leaving the country, and later they destroyed his art studio in Beijing. In 2011, the Chinese government simply had enough of Ai Weiwei. They arrested him at Beijing International Airport for economic crimes. They placed him in a secret prison for 81 days where they handcuffed him to a chair and interviewed him over 50 times. No one knew where I was, including his family. Just imagine how terrible that must have been. International public outcry ensued. This placed a lot of pressure on the Chinese government, and I was eventually released and he emerged as a hero. After being allowed to leave China in 2015, I moved to Berlin, Germany. In 2019, he moved to the United Kingdom. He currently still lives there with his family, working and traveling internationally. Ai's artwork is not only concerned with people from China, but also from suffering and pain from all over the world. In his artwork F Lotus that he created in 2006, he focuses on the refugee crisis. In the artwork, he arranged 1,500 life jackets from the Syrian refugees in the shape of lotus flowers for an installation in Vienna. The installation features 201 rings, each with 5 life jackets, arranged into the shape of the letter F. Each of the rings either have red, orange or blue life jackets and floats like a lotus blossom on the pond at a park. Lotus flowers symbolizes rebirth and transformation. However, the installation forms the letter F, which alludes to the English swear word. Instead of rebirth, these refugees will wait months for asylum with very little support. He created the installation as a part of his continued campaign to raise awareness for the Syrian refugee crisis. Another artwork that also focuses on the refugee crisis, when I strapped 14,000 life jackets to the Berlin Konzerthaus. These fluorescent orange vests, which are tightly wrapped around the columns of the 19th century music venue, were collected by the artist on his frequent trips to the Greek islands, where hundreds of refugees land every day after completing a treacherous, dangerous sea journey from Turkey. This artwork is a tribute to the refugees that died at sea in an attempt to escape war and poverty in the Middle East and North Africa. This artwork consists of 43 Lego portraits of Mexican students who were reportedly abducted in a mass kidnapping and then killed in 2014. At least 80 suspects have been arrested in the case, 44 of who were the Mexican police. Featuring some 1 million Lego blocks, the exhibition is intended to be a commentary on unsolved cases. When Ai Weiwei was planning the artwork, he placed a bulk order with Lego, but Lego refused to sell their blocks to him. Lego said it did not want to actively support or endorse specific agendas. At first, Ai Weiwei kept this news to himself, but a few weeks later he saw an announcement that a new Legoland theme park would open in Shanghai, China, and this led the artist to believe Lego had alternative reasons. China is Lego's fastest growing market, and they wouldn't want to irritate the Chinese government. But they should have known better than to start a fight with a feisty Ai Weiwei. I posted Lego's decision to refuse to sell him their blocks on his social media channels, and this sparked public backlash. Ai's fans started sending him Lego from all over the world with the hashtag Legos for Weiwei. Ai Weiwei and his team quickly set up Lego collection sites around the world. Soon, he had all the Lego blocks he needed for his artworks. Since then, Lego has changed their policy. They no longer ask people what their bricks will be used for when they place bulk orders. I welcomed Lego's change of heart. Law of the Journey is another artwork Ai Weiwei created to raise awareness of the refugee crisis. It is a colossal black rubber raft bulging with 300 anonymous human figures wearing life jackets. The black rubber material was manufactured in a Chinese factory that also makes the hazardous vessels used by the refugees who attempt to cross the Mediterranean Sea. This artwork was accompanied by one of Ai Weiwei's documentaries called Human Flow. For the documentary, I visited refugee camps in 23 countries, including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, France, Greece, Germany, Iraq, Israel, Italy, Kenya, Mexico, and Turkey. The global humanitarian crisis is a subject close to Ai's heart. As an activist, he is now a Chinese refugee living in the UK. Ai is not only concerned with human injustices, but also with animals. In Myanmar, elephants have long been valued for their hard work and ability to navigate the mountainous terrain. They are captured from the wild and forced into labor. In 2014, Myanmar instituted a ban on raw timber exports in an effort to combat deforestation. As a result, more than 5,000 elephants were now left jobless. They are now held in captivity and cannot survive on their own in the wild anymore. In 2020, Ai released his first virtual artwork focusing on these elephants and their plight. Viewers have a 360-degree view of the elephants and their environment. Ai Weiwei is addicted to social media. He's constantly posting frivolous little details about his life, his thought process, or he's blogging about his thoughts on architecture or social reform. But this has really served him in his life. It has often saved him. The time when the Chinese government just abducted him or arrested him, it helped to create public outcry so that people could put pressure on the Chinese government to release Ai. When he went for his operation with his brain being bashed because of the police, he also documented everything in detail. His whole social media presence is almost like a performance art in itself. Another artwork you should know about Ai Weiwei is called River Crabs, or in Chinese, He Shi. He created this work containing 3,200 handcrafted porcelain crabs, and this is yet another artwork criticizing the Chinese government. Unfortunately, understanding that message requires knowledge of Chinese. The he shi means river crab, but in Chinese it also sounds like the word for harmonious, which is part of the Chinese Communist Party slogan. They say that they are a harmonious society, but obviously Ai Weiwei, who has been the victim of their superior intense censorship, disagrees. Perhaps by making the connection to the crabs, he's saying that their oppressive regime aims to make citizens all the same, like so many crabs caught in a trap with no individuality or rights. Almost every household in China has a bicycle. It is a popular use of transport. Bicycles were always seen as a luxury in poor China. In Forever Bicycles, I used Shanghai-based Forever Company bicycles to make his massive installation. It is the standard household brand for bicycles in China, but when I was a poor little boy, he could not afford one as a child. Although bikes symbolizes freedom and movement in China, the fact that they are all stuck together in one massive piece could point to the status of the Chinese society today. The repetitiveness and the size of the installation were intended to allude to China's mass production. End of 2019, the world was hit by a massive pandemic. It started in China, Wuhan city, and we know it today as COVID-19. In 2020, he released a documentary called Coronation about the Chinese government's response to the growing health crisis in Wuhan and the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic. I directed a crew of volunteers to film the city's strict lockdown measures and their impact on everyday life, all the way from Britain. Ai is living abroad and it isn't safe for him to ever return to China. He says that he could return, but he would never ever be allowed to leave. So why do we celebrate Ai Weiwei's art today? Ai's art shows us how important freedom of speech is. It exposes the atrocities governments can commit that are not kept in check by a free media. He is passionate about pursuing truth, and currently in the world, people are increasingly skeptical about trusting establishments and institutions. They are flocking to alternative resources, such as conspiracy theories and religion not based in science. Ai's art explores our sources of truth and asks us to investigate the alternative motives of these sources. Ai is not just an artist, but also a human rights champion. He has been a ceaseless voice for the voiceless. He is a figurehead for justice. He is an adamant supporter of free speech. He refuses to be silenced. He demands respect for the past so we can transform the future. His works asks us to consider what we value, why we value it, what do we need to destroy, what do we need to preserve, and what do we need to transform. We are not just asked to witness his artworks, but we are called to action by it, and we are invited to participate. I just need to add that not everything Ai Weiwei does is genius, but he is committed to reaching a really wide public, and his constant posting and eventually makes him create genius artworks. And that is the life of artist Ai Weiwei. Yes, he is still a thorn in the side of the Chinese regime, and a constant irritation. I'm artist Lillian Gray and I love teaching art history. On our website, we sell amazing worksheets for teachers and students to get a better understanding of the artists and art history. Make sure to click on the link below and shop online for amazing worksheets. That's a massive time saver, great examination prep, and a lot of fun.